Karrion Kross, according to, I believe this was Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select, a name of interest to possibly go back to WWE. I don't think that's a surprise, especially with Triple H involved here. But I don't know. I know a lot of people really thought he was perfect for WWE. To me, he was a little bit more. When I saw him in Impact and then I saw him in Bloodsport, I was kind of impressed. But when I saw him in NXT, I was like, I wonder if he was more of like a big fish in a small pond. And now that he's a little bit in a bigger place, he doesn't come across as impressive. But I could be off on him. I wasn't super impressed at NXT. But what do you think about him for coming back to WWE?
See, the thing is that like, okay, they got him off on the wrong foot the way they booked him when they brought him to the main roster, no doubt. But he didn't stand out. Like even in NXT, it was like they were used to people that were at a certain level, and yes, they pushed him like crazy. They had him beat everybody, but no matter how many guys he beat, it never felt that anyone thought he was on the level of the top guys there, like Ciampa or Adam Cole or whatever. Even though he ran through everybody constantly, and on the main roster, it's like. He's big and he's got a good body and he does some nice suplexes and stuff, but it's like, he's not that much like he's a good sized guy for sure, but it's like, he doesn't stand out that much. And they have so many tall guys, in WWE, the thing that people don't realize is a lot of those guys that don't even get pushed are deceptively big. Whereas like in other companies, you see them and they, you know what I mean? Like the guys are there are not as many guys who's receptively big. It's like guys that are good sized guys don't stand out with their size because you got Omos and, you got all of these kind of, really big dudes, Gunther, and even like a guy like Kaiser is probably like almost 6'4". So Kross, who's not 6'4", it's not like he's going to be a big monster and work like a monster there because they got, if at his size he could work at a super high level, the size helps. He's not a small guy, but I like when he was on the main roster, it's like he's not that big, and his wrestling, it's like standing next to some guy like Logan Paul. He's thicker than Logan Paul, but he's not as tall, and Logan Paul stood out with all these great moves, and Kross has some good intensity and this and that. I don't know. It's like if he goes there, fine, but I don't see him as a game-changing guy on their main roster.
He needs Scarlett too.
Well, they're obviously now they'll be more open to that, and then that maybe that act does work. The one thing he had in NXT was they pushed him like crazy, and he had the great ring entrance, and he had Scarlett. And when he went to the main roster, they took Scarlett away and they took the entrance away, and then he was just a 6'2" guy with, big shoulders and big back who could wrestle decently well, but not a super standout. So with the helmet, with the accoutrements, perhaps, because WWE special effects are such a big deal. Give him good special effect, give him good ring entrance, and maybe he'll be seen as something bigger, So yeah, but yeah, the first run, even though Vince, didn't book him well, I did think that he didn't, it's like sometimes you see guys and you go, oh man, so Vince doesn't see it, but look how good this guy is, like Claudio at times was like that, or, there's just Chad Gable, or just buried and you just watch and go, God damn, that guy's great. Kross wasn't that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, agree. So, by the way, this is going to give away when we record this show. As you were talking, Karrion Kross was on SmackDown.
Oh, my God.
Attacked Drew McIntyre from the back.
Of all people. So if they're attacking Drew, then he's bringing him back as a top guy.
Roman was in the ring with the Usos, and I don't have the volume on. I just have it on in the background while we're talking, just in case something like this happens, so that I can see what's going on. And Scarlett was with him. They had the whole hourglass thing, so it looks like the NXT version of what they were doing.
Well, that's the best version.
Except Kross has hair still, so he didn't shave the head.
Well, if they're bringing him in with Drew against Drew, then they're bringing him in a top position. But This is not the time to be beating Drew, for sure. But that's interesting.
The idea looked to be that he was staring at Reigns. That's what it looked. Now, again, I didn't hear any of what was going on. I just saw the video in the back.
I mean, Reigns does need new opponents, but like I said, I guess if they bring him in, I mean, like I said, main roster, you can, the entrances and all that. But I mean, when he was there, like I said, he didn't stand out when he was there. But we'll have to wait and see.
Hey, if you're a big fan of Wrestling Observer Radio, we got 12,000 episodes of all of our podcasts up at our website, WrestlingObserver.com. If you sign up today, you get access to every single one of them. The 12 to 18 new shows that we do every single week. You can podcast them, listen to them on the road, at work, working out, in the shower, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And also full access to the Wrestling Observer newsletter and archives. So if you love what you hear, head to WrestlingObserver.com. 12,000 audio shows at your fingertips.